Let's start with present and past models of deduction. Let's listen to some examples and then we can discuss what you recognize.
11.5. It must have an explanation. It really happened. It can't be true. I don't believe you. This might not be a new discovery. I think I read about it last year. Rick's in Chicago for the next week. He must be visiting his sister there. You couldn't have seen Katie. She didn't go to the party. Sue is still looking for a job. She must not have gotten the other one.
If we have a look on those examples, we recognize we have a must as a modal verb, and then we have a verb in the base form. Must is one of them, can't is another modal verb, even might. But then you have the verb be as an auxiliary and then ing. And also you have this verb have as an auxiliary with the past participle form after the modal verb. So if we start discussing the first three, what do you remember about deductions? What comes to your mind with these examples? Is there something that you might remember from B1 plus?
No, too much. Oh, no, teacher. I don't remember.
Okay, don't worry, never mind. If you don't remember anything about this, let me remind you. We use models of deduction to talk about something when we don't know for sure if it is true or it was true. What do we need? We basically need to explain something, but according to logic or maybe the things that we already know. I mean, we get to some conclusions depending on the context or depending on the information that we have. For example, it must have an explanation. I know that there's an explanation and I'm 100% sure because it really happened. I don't know the explanation, but it must have an explanation. I'm sure about this. It can't be true, so I know that this is impossible. I don't believe you. This might not be a new discovery. Might understood as a maybe or perhaps. I'm not 100% sure. I doubt about it. Why? Because I think I read about it last year, but I'm not quite sure. So in the end, it's just speculating about things. We have an information and we express an opinion, but measuring how sure we are, depending if we are 100% sure, maybe almost 100% sure, or we know that there are more options, and as the last resource, this is impossible for me. If we go one by one, we can start with the present modals of deduction. We have the modal verb plus the base form. I mean, the B1 form. This is in the present deductions. In order to talk about present deductions, the modal verb plus the base form of the verb can be with must, when I'm 100% sure. This one can be as well with may or could. And this is when I am 75% sure about my deduction. If I'm 50% sure, I know that there are more options. You use might. And when something is impossible, you can use can't in the present or couldn't in the past. And as I mentioned previously, this is impossible. We use the percentage just to get closer to the idea of how sure we are, starting with must. Must plus the base form when we think that something is true. How we know that this is true? Because we base this one on logic. Help me with these two examples, please.
You must be hungry and you haven't eaten anything all day. I'm sure you're hungry. He never wears jeans. He must not like them. I'm sure that he doesn't like them.
If we use this example, Anna is a waitress. What can you speculate or what can you deduct about Anna in this moment, today, at this hour? What can you speculate about her?
She worked too much at the 3 a.m. The
Okay, yes.
waitress es mesera, ¿verdad?
Yes,
Mesero.
exactly.
Okay, yes.
And today is Wednesday, so 1:40 p.m. What can we speculate? What can we deduct about her, her job, and today?
Okay, she'd work most in the night.
Okay, yes, we can say she must work tonight.
Work tonight.
Maybe because today is Wednesday, and from Wednesday to Saturday, we know that restaurants are crowded, are full of people. So yes, we can say this. This is something that we can speculate. As you can see, we use must and the verb work. This is when we are 100% sure. When something is impossible, remember, we use can't in the present, couldn't in the past. And as I mentioned previously, we know that this is not true. Help me with this example, please.
You can or couldn't have the right address. The house is implied. I'm sure you don't have the right address.
Mm-hmm. Yes, we know that the house is empty. So, talking about something impossible about Anna, what can we speculate? She can't, she can't what?
She can get, I don't know how say propina, como que
Tips?
es imposible que haya tips. Okay. She can get tips for people. Imposible
From,
que no gane propina por persona.
uh-huh. She can't get tips from people. But is this something impossible or totally the opposite? She must get tips because she is a waitress, right?
Yeah.
Maybe she can get tips from people less than maybe 5% of the receipt. If I'm not mistaken, when you pay your receipt, 5% is for tips, right?
Yeah. For example, here in Mexico is of the 10% of all of you eat. Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's put 10 if we believe that Ana is in Mexico.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go now with the next modal verb, might or might not. As you can see, that could be positive, that could be negative, and again with the base form. And this is when we think that something is true, but we aren't sure. I mean, we know that we have one option or we have more options. Help me with this example, please.
David isn't at the school. He might be sick or he might not have any classes today. It's possible that David is sick. It's possible that he doesn't have any classes today.
Mm-hmm. So if we talk about Anna again, what can we speculate about Anna?
I don't know. I can use the might of inform negative.
If you want
Um,
to use it negative, yes, for sure. What can
yeah.
you speculate?
For example, she maybe don't have free time in el fin de semana in weekends
On the weekend?
in the weekends. Yeah, she might not
Mm-hmm.
have free time on the weekend.
Yes, exactly. We know that this could be possible, or maybe she only works from Monday to Friday. Well, we can speculate that because this is something according to logic, waitress,
Yeah,
we can find them working on weekends. So yes, it's a possibility, or it could be the opposite. Well, we were using might as 50% of the chances. When we are maybe a little sure, not 100, we can say may or could, plus the base form when we think that something is possible. As I mentioned previously, might, 50% of the chances, but may and could, we are close to that 100%. So we believe that this is possible. What do you say using may or could? Let's say earnings. She may earn, what can you imagine about the income? If we talk about a waitress, what can you imagine is the income for that person, monthly income?
monthly income. I what teacher? What is that? I don't know.
Monthly income, the salary.
Okay, the salary. Okay,
Mhm.
I don't know. I think she may earn 1 million together with the tips or win tips. I
Mhm.
don't know. Yes, she may earn more of salary basic with the tips.
Okay, so she may earn basic salary with tips, but tips included or tips as an extra?
Yes, with I don't know. She may earn more of a basic salary with tips or yeah, with including tips
So plus tips.
plus. Yeah.
Okay, yes, that's something that we can infer. Yes, we associate that this is something related to a basic salary, a basic income, and because they earn tips, this could be extra. Having in here these two examples, could you please help me reading those?
This restaurant's very popular, so it may be full. I'm not sure when her birthday is. It could be next Saturday.
So something as we were saying, if this is very popular, well, it's a possibility, it's likely, it may be full. Now, we often use the continuous form or the continuous idea of the verbs after modals of deduction when we think that is something happening now. At the moment, it's developing. So it's the same idea as the present continuous, the same, something that is ongoing. In here, remember, we need to use the modal verb, auxiliary be, and then the second verb or the ongoing action in the continuous form. As you can see, this is something that you can use with all the modal verbs that we have been practicing. The most important thing, using the auxiliary and including the ing. Help me with these two examples, please.
Okay, Justin isn't in the living room. He must be watching TV in his bedroom. And the next, Lori might be getting ready in her room. I know she's going to a party later.
So now the structure is the modal verb, auxiliary be, and then a verb in the ing. As I mentioned previously, this is for the continuous form. Talking about Anna, what can we speculate about Anna if we emphasize right now, in this moment, or something temporarily?
She must be working a lot because the restaurant is full.
Yes, that could be. She must be working a lot because the restaurant,
No, are full.
because it's just one restaurant, you can say full
Okay, it's full.
or
Or
crowded, con mucha gente.
crowded.
Yes. This is the continuous idea, and you can say she must be, she might be, she can't be, she must be as you're using here. So this is a modal verb that you can replace depending how sure you are on your deduction. And then the auxiliary. In here, because we are using must, we need to remember something. Modal verbs, they have particular characteristics. One of the characteristics with must and can is this. Can in the positive idea, like this, is not used for deductions. So in this class, you're not going to use can in the positive idea. And in the case of must not, if you want to say something 100% sure but in negative, you need to write down this one separately, not together. Because if you write down these together, must plus not, this has a different meaning. As a different meaning, you are talking about a prohibition in the British English. It is better to write down this one separated or say the modal verb first and then mentioning the negative idea. Like in these two examples. Could you please help me reading those?
Emma looks nervous. She might or could be afraid. Not she can be afraid. The second, that must not be the reason. It's not convincing. Not that mustn't be the reason. Okay.
Can, like this, in present, is not possible.
Yes. Okay.
Only negative when something is impossible. And in the case of mods, if you want to create a speculation with must always with negative separated, not
Okay.
contracted. You don't contract must with not, and you don't use can in positive. Okay, as I mentioned previously, I need to go with the past modals of deduction. I'm going to show you from this PDF. We already talked about the present modals of deduction. We already discussed the continuous modals of deduction. Now, past modals of deduction. We have present, we have continuous, and we have past. How can we use the past? Well, it's something similar as we did previously. We have the auxiliary have after the modal verb must, modal, auxiliary, and then past participle. So we need three elements. And this is when we are sure that something was true in the past. Help me with this, please.
It must have been an alien. It didn't look human. I'm sure it was an alien.
As the same way you use a must when you are 100% sure, can't in negative, or couldn't can be possible in here. Again, remember, including the auxiliary and then the past participle. And this is used when we are sure that something was not true. Help me with this, please.
A scientist can't or current has found a new form of life. I'm sure that a scientist didn't find a new form of life.
At the moment, we use must in positive. We use must again in negative, separated, the auxiliary, and then the past participle when we think that something was probably not true. Remember that we never contract these three elements, always separated. Like in here, you must not have seen it. As you can see, we also have the past participle. You must not have seen it. You mustn't would be incorrect. And the last one, could. Could have, or might have, or even negative, might not have, may have, or may not have, are still options of modal verbs in here. Remember, finishing with the past participle. And this is when we think that something was probably or possibly true, but we are not sure, like in perhaps or maybe. Adam isn't here yet. He could have gotten lost. Auxiliary, past participle. You have again must, can't, couldn't. You have might, you have may. The same modal verbs that we had practiced. Tell me, if we remember Anna, Anna is a waitress. What can you deduct or what can you speculate about Anna in the past? Remember, let's say today is Wednesday. And if we talk about the past, we have the previous weekend. What can you speculate? What can you say about her?
She may not have worked too much,
Mhm.
too much because
It's not the
mm,
peak season?
okay, yeah.
Okay, well, this is a possibility. Another possibility, as I mentioned previously, it could be she may not have worked maybe last Monday. Or if you want to be sure, instead of using may, in my creativity, I don't know my option. She must have worked last Saturday. She must have worked last Saturday because we know that on weekends, restaurants are full, are overcrowded. Yes, this is another option that you can say, including other modal verbs in the past in this case. Any final question on this? Everything is clear?
Yes, teacher. And for a moment, how clear? Thanks.
Great. So let me go now with the second topic. Let me go back to the book.